This is the story of the girl in her blanket, a girl who, every evening when the clock struck 5, locked herself in her room, closed the windows, pulled down the shades, and sat in the dark. She'd go under a blanket and hide herself, hear the sounds of her friends playing outside. They laughed, shouted, and ran around. She never did. It was only when they went back home that the little girl came out of her blanket, and this continued for years. The little girl grew up, and each night when the clock struck 5, try though she might, she couldn't fit herself in the blanket anymore. She tucked her legs to her stomach, bowed her head down to her knees, even held her breath, but the blanket was too small. So she decided to step out. She opened the door. The sunlight blinded her eyes. The warm breeze made her shiver. She ran to her neighbour's door and knocked. A lady opened the door. The girl asked for a bigger blanket, but the lady screamed out of fear and asked, "Who are you? Your hair is tangled. You stink. You have scars all over your body. You look scary." So the lady threw a big-sized blanket on her and shut the door. The girl went back to her house, locked her door, and hid herself under that blanket again. Years passed by, and the girl kept growing. Once in a while, she knocked at the doors of other people. No one offered her food or water. No one offered her warmth. No one cured her wounds. But instead, they only threw bigger blankets on her and shut their doors. This is the story of at least 2 in 10 girls in the UK, and the story of at least 1 in 25 boys in the UK. This is a story of every child that is sexually abused. Child sexual abuse is so much more prevalent than we realise. Approximately 90% of those who are sexually assaulted already know the perpetrator prior to the offence. Studies show that only 1/3 of child victims disclose the fact that they were sexually assaulted, out of which only half of the cases are ever reported. Out of all the reported cases, only 55% of them get investigated. The rest are just screened out due to lack of information, proof, or other reasons. Now, even if a case is lucky enough to get investigated, the chances of it getting justice is really very rare. So what happens to the rest of the cases? The majority that just get screened out or never even get reported? What about those little children? They have their whole life ahead of them. How are they going to live? Or will they? They hide under their blankets for years. A blanket of shame. A blanket of fear. Fear of not being believed. And fear of being blamed. A child's journey from being a victim to being healed is never an easy process. It is pain. It is fear. It is trauma. It is hard work. But the hard work is worth it. I know this. I understand the struggles. I've been through it myself. My name is Anu Verma. I'm an Asian of Indian ethnicity. I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. But I'm healed. I'm happy. And I'm flourishing. And this is my story. In the summer of 1980, on a warm, serene June day, I was born in the city of Coventry. My parents worked really hard to give me and my elder brother a good life in the UK, and the life they built was good. But one night, That all changed for me. My father's friend decided to creep into my bedroom, and he put his hands on me and woke me up. And he forced me to touch him. He forced me to lick him. He forced me to please him. And I remember feeling scared. I remember feeling clueless. I remember feeling guilty. He said to me, "This is our little secret." I remember feeling helpless. I was just 3 years old. As you grow, memories fade with time, but this one just stayed. It stayed and haunted me throughout my adulthood. When he said, "This is our little secret," I took it seriously. So I didn't tell it to anyone. I feared not being believed. I feared being blamed. But my biggest fear was him. He threatened me, and he also said he loves me. I internalized all my pain and put on a fake smile every time I saw him. This continued for 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years of living in fear, living as a victim. 2 to 3 years of just feeling empty. There comes a time in every victim's life where they just can't hold it in. They want to let go of the little secret. So one day, I decided to tell my aunt. I told her everything, and she believed me. She cried with me. She said that she would fix it, and she did. That evil man was thrown out of our house and our lives. My parents took care of me. I remember feeling happy, just so happy, and everything felt easy. I could be a child again. I could play in the sun and not be living in the darkness. I could breathe and not feel suffocated. The nightmare was over. Little did I know that. There would be another night, and another nightmare. At the age of 7, I was sexually abused again. This time, it was my uncle. My uncle who everyone trusted. My uncle who I trusted. And I had another little secret to keep for another year. But the effects and trauma lasted for many years. It is never easy to explain how it really feels. It changes you. It takes away your identity. Every day is hard. One small trigger and you're reliving your past all over again. And you don't feel normal like other girls do. You always feel like a social outcast. It's really hard to make new friends and new relationships. Trusting someone is hard. Pretending to be happy is hard. I can talk to you forever about all the impacts and struggles of a sexually abused victim. There's a lot to this. However, there is healing and hope. A cure to stop dwelling in the past. I found my healing through therapy, meditation, and travelling. It took a few years and a lot of patience and hard work, but in the end, it was all worth it. Fast forward to now. I'm a mother to a beautiful 2-year-old son. I'm an author, an educator, a traveller, and I enjoy life to its fullest. Life is good. Despite what I've been through, I'm still here, living a happy life. After all these years, after all the suffering and healing, my heart goes out to all the children and victims of abuse. No child should ever go through the pain I experienced. No child. I want to bring out more awareness into this world. I want all parents to teach their kids about the good touch and bad touch. All parents must understand and believe their children. I want all child victims to trust their memories and know that it's not their fault. I want them to know that there is healing and hope. I want to help. I've written a book called Victim to Victor, where I talk about all of my experiences of being a victim and my journey of overcoming this pain to finally become a victor of my own destiny. I talk about my healing through Reiki, emotional freedom therapy, meditation, and spiritual life coaching. Please do check it out. I've provided all the links below. Lastly, I just want to say, as a mother, I now know that children are the most precious gifts from God. We need to love them and protect them at all times. We need to believe them and not just sweep all of their problems under the rug, though instead help them to overcome their difficulties. I really hope this was helpful. Thank you.